All right, I couldn't remember if it was that one or Tyreek Hill. Did you guys see what Tyreek Hill told I guess it was an autograph.
An autograph guy.
Who knows if he was being serious?
Yeah, I wanted to see how much stock you put into that comment because I put this much into it.
Yeah, I didn't really take it.
He made a comment
I don't believe it.
to a Browns fan at an autograph show. Oh, we do have it. Okay, we can roll it then, Steve, and let everybody decide. So we have the video?
We have the video and the audio.
Real quick. Not responsible. Lincoln Electric.
Go here.
We got the next one. Here's the actual quote. He says, "You should have paid me, bro. I wanted to go to Cleveland." Essentially.
Yeah.
It's hard. He's got to do the Lincoln Electric.
Yeah, go ahead and do the Lincoln Electric lead.
Yeah, that's my bad. So going forward, our Browns Talk is brought to you by Lincoln Electric. Lincoln Electric now hiring for great jobs.
Yeah.
And Lincoln Electric, elite manufacturers in welding.
There it is.
And all that stuff. Lincoln Electric, we love those guys. Great logo, too, by the way. Very
nice.
bold and easy to read.
Yep.
Good graphic design. Shout out Lincoln Electric.
Yeah, what he basically was telling the Browns fan, because he saw he was wearing a Deshaun Watson jersey, is that, hey, I wanted to go to Cleveland. They should have paid me.
That's the exact quote.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, if that's true, it's disappointing because Tyreek Hill's a great player.
We didn't hear anything about it.
There was no rumors of that whatsoever. Doesn't mean it's untrue, but
Players want to go where the
kinda,
money is.
I think he's just kind of talking.
I do too.
I don't
it seemed
think
like
there's
he
anything
saw a Browns jersey and said, hey man, I wanted to go there. They should have paid me.
Yeah, it's not like he came out and just said this unprompted.
Right.
And he wasn't a free agent. He had to be traded.
Right.
So,
but I want to throw one thing out there because this is how when I saw this, I got my brain thinking. Of all the receivers in the NFL, and let me preface this with this. The Browns did not have a first-round pick to trade. They weren't going to trade a second-round pick, and they didn't have $120 million to give Tyreek Hill. This was never going to happen.
They certainly did have that money to give Tyreek Hill.
Well, they already paid Watson, though.
Well, but they could have paid Tyreek Hill. Are the Bengals, in theory, can they pay Joe Burrow and Jamar
But they didn't have
Chase?
a first-round pick to trade for Hill at the time.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I disagree
it
with the
wasn't
money.
going to happen.
So I'm prefacing that. There's not a receiver in the NFL that fits Deshaun Watson's skill set better with his own skill set than Tyreek Hill. Those two, in theory,
I mean,
are the
I don't know. I'd
perfect
take
match
Steph
on paper.
Diggs. There's a number of guys
I'd
I'd
still
take.
rather have Chase or Jefferson than
No.
Well, first of all, they're younger than
Well,
Hill.
but I'm saying just skill set wise.
They're not as big a
Skill set
scumbag.
wise.
They're not scumbags like Hill.
Yeah, I mean they never.
But you
yeah,
traded for Watson, so I guess it doesn't matter. But
Yeah, all bets are off now.
whatever. But you throw that in as a tiebreaker.
It
I
didn't
get what
mean
you're
much to me
saying
when I heard it.
because he's the fastest receiver.
And the one thing that differentiated in my mind Hill with some other guys, and maybe it's because I watch the Chiefs so much because they're always on national TV. As soon as the play broke down, that kinetic energy or kenosis thinking between Mahomes and Hill on
You're
where to
just
go on the
making up
scramble
words
drill.
right now.
I'm on the set. I can do whatever I
Yeah.
want now. I'm not
You
behind
got it.
glass.
No, you
I'm
nailed it,
unhinged.
though.
Yeah. The kinetic energy, kenosis, the twin syndrome thought. As
I
soon
know
as
what you're
Mahomes got
saying.
out of the pocket,
They were always on the same
him and Hill
page.
were on the exact same page, and we talked last year. What does Watson do?
Right, but that's
do
chemistry. You're not going to
unbelievable
necessarily have chemistry with the guy you haven't played with.
Facts.
It didn't happen the second he started
But
playing with Mahomes.
We do know that part of the reason they went out and got Elijah Moore this offseason, part of the reason they're at least flirting with Odell Beckham Jr., or how real those are.
I don't think.
I don't think
is-
they're flirting with him at all.
They need a receiver who can freestyle when the play breaks down, which we saw last year. I know there's not a ton of chemistry between
Right.
Watson and his guys. DPJ's not a great quote-unquote freestyler when the play breaks
Right.
down. Amari Cooper
but
isn't a
any of
precision
the-
route runner.
Any of the elite receivers are. So
yes,
any
but,
of those
but I'm
guys.
saying I've watched Hill enough to know that is
Yeah,
something
sure.
he does
That is
unbelievably
his strong
well.
suit,
Yeah,
for sure.
No
So
doubt.
I looked at the numbers, and just for fun, because why not?
Yeah.
Back in 2019, on deep passes, according to PFF, Watson had a 93 grade, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. In 2018, he had a 98.2 PFF grade on deep passes down the left sideline, which is where Tyreek Hill does the most of his work. So I just put numbers together.
Yeah,
I'd
Tyreek
love
Hill
to
would
see
have
them.
been
I'd
amazing.
love
It
to
is.
see them in the
It's
same
the
offense.
perfect matchup.
The
It was
Browns
never going to
did-
happen.
I don't
but-
buy. They had the money. You could always find a way, but they didn't have the trade assets to go get.
Yeah,
Tyreek
they
Hill.
don't have. A
Once he
first-round
traded
pick
for
yet.
Watson,
I disagree with Mike a little bit on
up?
that, but just based on the numbers you said, I don't think Tyreek Hill's skill set kind of separates him because Will Fuller doesn't have the same skill set as Tyreek Hill, and he was the primary target on a lot of Watson's deep balls. So I think a guy like a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or any of the top 5 wide receivers would do just well with Deshaun
Well,
Watson.
what you want when a quarterback has the deep ball is his strength, because oftentimes those breakdowns aren't deep balls. Oftentimes the receiver's running back to the line of scrimmage on breakdowns.
breakdowns.
But
yes,
when you think about a quarterback that's an elite quarterback on deep balls, which Watson clearly is, you want two things: a guy that can separate and a guy that's going to win 50-50 balls. And I don't know that Tyreek Hill necessarily is going to win a lot of 50-50 balls. He's not.
He's not huge. He's pretty good in those
using
situations,
his size
though.
and position like a Justin Jefferson does.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
think Jamar Chase is
I'm not
incredible
taking
at that.
any right now. If I'm starting the team, it's Jefferson and Chase, and then everybody else.
Yeah, there is
To
pretty,
me,
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah.
I just think.
Now, would the Browns be better with Tyreek Hill? Hell yeah.
Of course they would.
I'd love to see it, but it was never going to happen.
I mean, if you had Tyreek Hill and Amari Cooper, I mean, that would be pretty special. But I don't think that was ever realistic, and I don't think the Browns were ever.
agree.
I don't think the Browns were ever going to be traded for him because they gave up first-round picks to get him.
Guys,
A first and a second.
Yeah.
one of the things that's standing out to me about Andrew Berry as we're figuring out what kind of player he likes, it's obvious to me, and I know the Amari Cooper thing notwithstanding because that was a different deal altogether. The deal was there to be made. You're not going to not make that deal because it took so little to get him. But one of the things that I feel like Andrew Berry is infatuated with is speed at the receiver position.
Really?
Well, look at Schwartz. And he had no wide receiver skill set.
Yeah, but I don't know.
He had
I mean,
speed.
Cooper
What
doesn't
is
have
Marquise
big speed.
Goodwin?
David Bell doesn't have a good
no,
speed.
But what is Marquise Goodwin?
Well, now I think he's making up for
What
the
is Elijah
shortcomings
Moore?
in that.
Well,
Now he's
I think
infatuated,
I think his inclination is to go after the fast guy, and I don't know that that's always
but
the best
DPJ
play.
Did he
is
draft
not-
DPJ? Or was that.
No, he drafted DPJ.
Yeah.
But DPJ and Bell are guys that are.
They're slow,
Not
slower.
speed guys,
I
yeah.
mean-
but I just look at the Schwartz thing. I'm trying to
But he was
make
the only
sense of that.
that was the only guy
Well,
that
I
it
think
took that was a speed
Goodwin
receiver.
is
But
clearly
until
a speed
now,
player.
Now,
I know,
clearly.
but until now, that was the only speed. And Goodwin's like an extra guy. I mean, you didn't spend any money on him.
He is, but it's a guy that he went out and felt strongly enough to go get.
Yes.
Right,
There
but
are other guys you could feel strongly about and say, I'm going to go get these guys.
I know, but DPJ, Amari Cooper, and Bell are all not speed guys.
But Moore, Schwartz, and Goodwin are.
I know, but you're saying he only wants speed guys.
No, I didn't say that. I said I think he's infatuated with the speed.
I don't think he's any more infatuated than any other GM.
I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like these last moves this year, the last two, to bring in these wide receivers, there were other guys that were available. Like I thought, Hunter Renfrow could have been had, I think, if the deal was right. And instead, the guys that were brought in, and I'm not, I think Moore's going to be fine. I do. I think he's going to be better with the Browns than he was in New York. But I think Goodwin is a guy that clearly upgrades your speed as a unit. If he ends up making this team, I don't think Schwartz will. I think it's one of the two.
Right, but Goodwin's, to me, is an afterthought. I don't think that's an obsession with speed because that's an afterthought with a lot. I mean, Elijah Moore has speed because you want to have one receiver that's going to play that has speed. None of his other top guys have speed.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I came around on Hunter Renfrow, but I think Elijah Moore's got more upside than Hunter Renfrow, and which is why I think he went in that direction. I guess we'll see as time goes by.
We will, yeah. I still would like to see Hunter Renfrow in this offense. I would like to see
Are
a
you
guy like
completely
that.
closing the door on that possibility?
Pretty much.
I think so,
I think now, again, we talked about the whack-a-mole scenario that he was faced this offseason. He's knocked the defensive line moles down for now. Let's see how this group plays. I also think he's addressed the wide receiver core. I think that, and I don't know how much impact a rookie linebacker can have, particularly that's going to come that late in the draft and with this particular linebacking class. So I don't know how much inroad you're going to make during the draft on that. But that's clearly the next area that he has to focus on. He hasn't done enough work in the linebacking core.
They could end up with a second-round pick. I mean, they got enough ammunition. If they want to trade back in the second round, they'll be able to do it.
I bet they do, by the way.
Man, I wouldn't be surprised because I don't think they want to draft 8 guys.
They can't. They don't have the roster spots for 8 guys.
Yeah,
So you realistically hope 3 to 4 guys can make this team.
That's right.
Rookies.
So if that's the realistic situation, then if you have to
Package
use
some of your
a
picks
bunch
and
of
go
third,
up.
fourth, fifth rounders to move up to the second round,
And
there'll be a trade available.
And they've been very good at doing that.
Well, they've moved more down the draft than up.
Yeah,
but yes,
but that's to get draft collateral.
Right.
So
Now
now
they
that they
have
have
a lot
that
of it
capital
in
and
the
you
middle
don't
round.
have the need roster-wise,
Right.
your roster is pretty much full.
Yeah.
You might have 3 to 4 spots. So instead of taking a wild goose chase on 6 or 7, package them up, go up higher in the draft, get the guy that you think can make the difference at linebacker. Because I still think that right now that's our glaring.
Yeah,
all
on
right?
paper, that's the biggest. That's the worst
paper,
unit by far.
There's no depth.
Yeah, there's
And
nothing.
There's really no standout.
I'm not even sure you have
any.
any starters, any definitive starters.
Well, Walker's
your best linebacker, and he's okay.
Oh, he's coming off injury, so I mean,
Right, I don't know what
we're still
all
hoping
your
all
lines-
those guys are healthy.
God, he better be a starter.
All their linebackers are coming off injuries.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying I don't know if they have any starters that are not starters only because you have
I
to
see what
start
you're saying.
somebody.
Yeah, on other teams.
Yeah,
on other
right.
teams.
So I think if we get to the second round, and whether it's maybe it's a defensive lineman, but maybe for our argument's sake, let's say there's a linebacker they're like, this guy's really good. We're at 47 in the draft. We're not picking until whatever
74.
they picked, 74. We better use, even if they have to use 3 picks to move 4 picks.
Yeah.
They're
I'm
mid-round
okay with
picks.
that.
Who cares?
I'd rather them be aggressive to target a player they
Yes, that
specifically
they-
like
right.
in the second round. I mean, they don't have enough ammunition to move to the first round. I'd love for them to get back in there. They just
Right.
not trading 3s for a 1.
No,
but
no.
if they like someone at 50, 52,
Yeah.
I'd rather
you can
them
go
move
get
up,
that guy.
trade 4, 5. Like they
I
only
don't know
have
about
I think-
5. I'm okay with 3 picks, packaging 3.
But
Yeah,
you know what
whatever.
I'm saying? Use the ammunition you have to go get a player you really like
Yeah.
higher in the draft than swinging. I don't want to say miss, but take swings on a bunch
Yeah.
of guys later that have a much
Yeah,
lower
the later
chance
you
of
go in the draft, the less
being
likely you are to
productive.
hit. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
the way it is.
and they should find dance partners because there are teams that have a lot of needs.
Yeah.
They need
Sure.
the picks.
Sure, right,
So
right.
hopefully they can package
And
some
you
of
might
those
even
later
have to
ones
give away a
together.
second-round pick next year as part of a deal, depending on how high you want to move up.
I haven't read extensively on this, but everything I've read tends next year's draft class overall seems to be better. Scouts are more excited about next year than this year. Not at all positions, but overall talent.
There's 3 quarterbacks that if you listen to Mel Kiper, Tom McShay, and we'll find out
Well,
in
these
5
things
years.
always change.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
we'll find out in 5 years that
Yeah.
there's 3 quarterbacks they say would be taken ahead of any of the quarterbacks in this draft class.
Right. And
if it was
from a wide
available.
receiver standpoint, like everybody's salivating over Harrison.
He's a stud.
right,
You just
right.
pencil. He's a
Yeah.
10-time
You know,
Pro Bowl.
I
Just
think
pencil him in.
there are a lot of the general consensus is next year's draft is better. So I would want to. Plus, I'm not a fan of trading away all your high capital. Like we don't have a first
No.
this year, we don't have a first next year.
No.
We do still have next year's second. That's the highest we're going to pick in the next 2 drafts.
Right. Yeah.
I hope they hold on to that one because at some point you're going to need that stud coming
I
out
hear
of
you,
school.
but ultimately, if you have a player you feel like you got to get in the second round this year,
Go
and the
get him.
price
Go
is
get
the
him.
second round of next year, then you
get
do
him.
it if you have to.
if it's the perfect fit.
Yeah, sure.
If it's
I'm
the
with you.
perfect fit.
Yeah,
I'm with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
This window is win now, and I know we keep, not we, but I know a lot of people want to say that they have this prolonged window.
No, I don't.
These contract.
Well,
the
the
salary cap
problem
is,
for the Browns, like, listen, in general, I think as long as you have a great quarterback, and if Deshaun Watson gets back to being a great quarterback,
you have a window.
always have a chance.
But
However,
Antonio's getting older.
Well, but the problem with the Browns compared to some of the other teams with great quarterbacks is they have done so, at best, mediocre in the draft.
Yes.
That they haven't, that's the key, because I don't think the Chiefs are looking at it as a small window because Patrick Mahomes is making a ton of money, but they've done so well in the draft that they have a lot of guys who are cheap right
It's the
now.
Guardians factor.
Yeah,
They're going to
exactly.
develop and draft
Exactly.
extremely well.
You have to-
so you can lean on that.
This idea that you can't keep winning with an expensive quarterback is baloney.
No, that's-
but
that's
not-
once
that's
not what
you
I'm
have
saying.
the expensive quarterback, you have to be excellent
Yes,
with your draft picks.
it puts a priority on that. That's where the
Huge.
Bengals have done really,
Yes,
really well.
and that's what-
the
and the-
Chiefs have done well.
And that's where the Browns must
Yes.
immediately turn it
Yes.
around.
I mean, you can pay if you're paying a quarterback top dollar.
Yes.
You can pay other positions top dollar. Kelsey's making top money.
Right.
Jawan Taylor for the
But
Chiefs.
you got to have
Yeah.
folks on rookie
But you
contracts
have to
that are
have the
contributing.
bottom
hit.
of the roster, and by bottom I mean that.
payroll bottom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those guys,
Well,
these
you have to
gotta
have
be good
guys
players.
guys on rookie
contribute
deals. That's why
Yes.
all the time.
That's why the
Yes.
Chiefs were able to win.
Yes.
Yes.
They've got the perfect blend of superstar quarterback.
Yes.
Right.
Kelsey is an elite player. They have some elite linemen. They have some
Yeah.
other elite players. But when you have the number of rookies starting that they do,
It's 6 last year.
look at
right.
what that does to your
That's
payroll
right.
flexibility. And the
And-
Browns don't have that, by the way.
And when you're good, you can let some of those rookies, like the Chiefs had a bunch of rookies that played, but a lot of times you could have those guys sit and learn,
Yeah.
and then they play the next year, and you let the veteran walk because you don't want to pay him. And that's
Juan
what they did with
Thornhill.
Juan Thornhill.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and that's what the Bengals are doing at safety as well. So, you got to make those choices. Eventually, there are some tough choices, but you don't want to give up your best players.
Right.
But those second-tier players, you got to be able to replace them with young, cheaper
and
players.
I think your point is Garrett's getting up there.
Older.
Chubb is getting up there. You know, these are
certainly
guys that if
Antonio.
they're not at the peak of their prime right now, they're really close.
Yeah.
age-wise.
Yeah, another 2-3 years, Nick Chubb's probably not going to be that good. That's just the way it works at running back.
Sadly, you're right.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
defensive
maybe
end.
he'll be the anomaly, but most running backs, once they get to their late 20s, start to decline.
The average career looks a lot like Zeke's. I mean,
For a
of
running back.
of an elite guy, yeah.
Yeah.
The guys like, Thurman Thomas had an extended career. Emmett Smith played forever.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep your body in shape.
Derrick
You've
Henry's
got to
modern day
work.
version of it.
Did you guys see the workout
Yeah,
videos of Derrick Henry?
It's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
think I've
stupid.
seen a workout. There were 8 different clips. I
It's
don't
so
think I've seen
stupid.
anything more impressive.
It's so stupid.
And I've sent it to guys that are workout warriors, and they're like, holy shit, I'm tired just watching that.
That's stupid.
That guy's he's a horse.
Yeah.
And now you know why he gets stronger in the game in the fourth quarter. And Nick Chubb's another guy. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that they don't like to use him more than 17 carries, but Chubb's a guy that's impressive in the weight room too. I'd like to see what he could do with 6 or 7 carries in the fourth quarter.
And maybe Chubb will last a year or two longer than Henry because he's taken,
Maybe.
in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of things, Nick Chubb still has a lot of carries compared to most running backs.
You're right, yeah.
But
Most
not as
elite
much
running backs.
But not as much as Derrick Henry. So
Yeah.
maybe he'll last a little longer. We'll see.
Do you all think he's the anomaly?
I hope so.
I hear a lot of people say, Chubb is getting older. Chubb is going to wear down. I've always had this take of, I think he's in that class with Adrian Peterson.
I hope so.
I think
There's
he's
no
like
way
the
to
Frank
know.
Gore.
I mean,
I think
Yeah.
that he's got. I think he's that good.
Well, the one thing
Would
like,
you have thought that? I don't think it has to do necessarily with how good you are. I mean, Le'Veon Bell was as good as any back in the league, and he went off the
Well,
cliff. Sean Alexander, MVP, 2 years later, out of the
Off the
league.
cliff, yeah.
It
I will
happens.
say this though, injuries plays a huge part. I mean, you can't predict it. You can do certain things to prevent them. And when I see Derrick Henry doing the things that he's doing, the lateral pulls that he was doing, I'm like, that's strengthening everything in your core, your knees down. So there's things that you can do, and Derrick Henry's clearly doing it. We know that Nick Chubb is a freak in the weight room and spends a lot of time there. It's guys like that are, here's what a athlete once told me. Oh, no, that's just par for the course. That's called changing the oil every 3,000 miles. I thought that was funny. It's preventative maintenance. It's getting in there and doing the work. So I don't know that Alexander wasn't a guy that didn't put in the work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he was, and there are guys that put in the work that flame out after 4 years. But Walter Payton, his off-season workouts were legendary, and he did it for a very long time at a very high level.
I think, could Nick Chubb be a guy who's still good at 30, 31? He could be.
Yes,
But I think in your mind as a team, you have to assume that once a running back hits 30 the latest, he's not going to be the same guy.
Yeah, well, typically they rarely are.
Even if he's still good, he won't be. I mean, Nick Chubb is playing at a Hall of Fame level.
Yes.
So I can't. He's going to turn, I believe, 28 towards the end of the season in December.
26.
And that's why I
correct,
bring he and Garrett up together.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know where the peak is. Where's the prime years?
And defensive ends start to teeter off, too.
But I think, I don't know that they're closer to the end of those prime years than to the beginning, but statistics tell us that to expect this kind of performance 4 years from now from both guys, it would be defying the odds.
And I hope we're all wrong.
I
hope we're wrong, but
I hope the odds are wrong.
Until we're in 2027, we honestly won't know.
Just give us the Super Bowl before then, and we won't have to worry
Then it
about
won't matter.
That'd be
Okay,
awesome.
so this is